Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. Cat has knocked my microphone out of alignment at the last moment. Hurrah! Oh, but again, welcome to the stream. We're going to be picking up our Phoenix Wright playthrough. I see just Sidey has joined us again. Hey there, Sidey. Let's check in with the kitties real quick here before we go any further. We have Sky and Sammy over on the cat tree. And we just saw Mason dart through beneath them. Doing great, Sidey. Pretty good day. I've been busy. Pretty busy. Hey there, Ethan. My video editing for the short form videos that I do is I've been trying to up my game on their quality, so it takes a little bit longer for them to be completed. A little more fiddling. But it's good. It's good. I will only be one day behind if I finish them up today. Let's see here. Upper right, we have Sherbet. He was bathing, and now he's gone. I mentioned him. And then top center, we have Ember. Little sweetheart. She is snoozing. Got a bit of a cat glare there going. But she's sleepy. They're all sleepy. Some zoom ins here. I heard your test went well yesterday, Sidey. Sammy is loafed out right there, isn't she? Hey, good deal. How's your day going, Ethan? Always good when you manage to clear your schedule and all the obligations worked out just fine. Get to just relax. But yeah, we're going to play some Phoenix Wright tonight. We're picking back up with the museum heist. We've got a sort of masked master thief situation going on. Let's see. Let's hit some buttons. Button 1. Button 2. And button 3. There we go. Last we played, we returned to the office of the detective, the one who has decided that he needs a larger-than-life self-portrait hung over his own mantle. Pressing one more button. Hopefully that works a little bit better. We've got some latency going on. I might give it a little kick here. Little better, I think. Little better. Okay. Gotta maintain the machinery, you know. But this is our egotistical detective here with his magnifying lens style monocle. In general, it doesn't, Sidey. Given how many of these we play, there's usually a period of, now, what were we doing that goes on at the start. Keep it mixed up. It keeps it fresh every time. But we returned in this this tool bag or similar was there when it was not before. This bag, I'm sure it wasn't here before. See? Confirmation. Nice. This game is Phoenix Wright, or this is the third game in the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy. This is Trials and Tribulations. And I believe we are on the second case. This is a game where you move around, find evidence, and then use it in court in order to usually prove somebody's innocence by way of identifying the actual culprit. It's kind of visual novel styled in that it's not like you can miss evidence, it's that you can mess up and not use it at the right time and get penalized. But if you do it right, it just flows in a fixed way. Not familiar with Tears of Themis. Let me just do a little Googling here. Possibly. I have not played it, but the genre is usually called a detective game. Games with that tag aren't always tagged accurately, like all games with tags, but it's that sort of game where it's uncover the clues kind of things. Pretty much every game on our schedule right now is a detective game, with the exception of Power Wash Simulator. That is our break from detective games. But otherwise, Phoenix Wright, Judgment, and Danganronpa are all detective games. With the all of them having murders, but the violence kind of scales up as you shift further down the week. But yeah. This character is Maya. She is Phoenix Wright's current sidekick and a recurring sidekick. She's fun. This is Pearl, Maya's cousin. She is there because she's meant to be cute. Looks quite full. I wonder what could be in there. We've never stopped rifling through people's private property before. Why would we start now? Hey, Nick, come on, open it up. Hey, wait a minute. We can't just open his private property. Don't be such a fuddy-duddy. This is an important investigation. Laws don't apply to us. That's true, and truth be told, I have to admit I am kind of curious. See? Maya tends to suggest stealing things very quickly. Well, what's in there? Hang on a second, I'm taking it out. Yep, it's pretty much like that. Phoenix Wright is kind of archetypical in the genre. You may recognize some of the content and some of the characters, especially in the trials, from various memes. The pointing and shouting of objection and slamming desks is where this is where that comes from, or at least the cartoon images thereof. Whatever it is, it feels kind of hard and smooth. Yep. This is the game that comes from, or the series. Well, hello there. He's here. Detective Luke at me. What are you doing, Sir Lawyer? I'm shocked to see a servant of the court ignoring the law so flagrantly. I'm really sorry. Maya made me do it. Nick, I can't believe you getting caught like that. A gentleman never uses a lady as an excuse for his own poor behavior. The real question is, can you afford to waste time lollygagging about here? What do you mean by that? Perhaps I should make myself more clear. Tomorrow's trial, Zvari. Hello there, Tass. So you had you have a geography teacher that has a nose that would be considered a a hazard to those around him. This has got to be a saying. I hope it's a saying. Shall we say the figurative Sir William will be dropping his panties before lunchtime? I don't get it. Wow, Nick, sounds like it's going to be exciting. A lot of characters in Phoenix Wright end up with their own kind of theme song. What's going to happen at the trial tomorrow that's so dramatic? Do you know that what your biggest mistake so far has been, Sir Lawyer? It was becoming a lawyer in the first place. That certainly does sound like a big mistake, Mr. Nick. Tomorrow will be a day to remember. I, Luke Atme, will take the stand. And then, Zvari, my testimony, will prove to be the undoing of the lot of you. Then he stretches his eyeball out at us again. Yes, all of you. I will unmask you as the thieves' co-conspirators. I have no idea what Zvari means. He shouts it a lot. I get he uses it in the same way somebody would use voila. Conspirators? Giggling. You are quick on the defensive, I see. However, it is not I that is your greatest enemy. There is a far more dangerous threat that you will face during the trial. What are you talking about? Sir Lawyer, if you truly are who you say, I'm sure you've heard of him. His name is Godot. Godot? We're going to have a new prosecutor. You have taken a step down the path of foolishness. Stretch. You try to defend a career criminal who deserves nothing less than the death penalty. Hey, last time I checked, no one knows for sure that Mr. Delight is really Damask. More giggling. My dear lady, times may change, but people, sadly, do not. Well, you will understand this when you are more mature. Who's this Godot person? I think it's Godot. So I'm pretty sure it's not Godot. So if he's the character I think he is from, like, some of the game art, then, maybe Gobot is closer? It's not surprising that a spirit medium has not heard the name. Godot, the prosecutor whose equal cannot be found in this country but in heaven. No, the legend or myth. Men pin a lifetime of hopes on the chance to simply meet him. Oh, he's got a fan here. Prosecutor Godot. The best prosecutor in the country isn't Godot, it's Mr. Edgeworth. Isn't that right, Nick? It's no surprise that a spirit medium such as yourself would know nothing of this. No, he's really, taking a stab at Maya's, hereditary profession, isn't he? But ace prosecutor Miles Edgeworth is currently traveling abroad. Huh? In fact, it was Mr. Edgeworth who acknowledged Godot as the best in this country. And you agree with that? Most certainly. In fact, you could call him the Luke Atme of the prosecutor's office. Well, okay, so he's not all that good, right? Well, that's good to hear. The prosecution has a fighting chance tomorrow. Mr. Nick, is this Godot really that strong? I seem to remember hearing about someone like that. Not surprising, some people spend their entire lives idly waiting for his appearance. Looks like we're done investigating for the day. Giggle. Sir Lawyer. The stage has been set and all the pieces are finally in place. All that remains now, stretch, is for the dance to begin. I know they're implying that he's, like, you can see his eye magnified through it. But that would be a really narrow focus lens that he's got then. Like, very focused to be able to get his eye like that from that distance. I still contend that his eyeball is attached to that. There's like a socket. Oh, I hadn't considered that. Maybe the lid and the eyeball go together. Like it detaches. There's a little mechanical socket under his brow, and he's like hooks it in there and it pops the eye out. Not much yet, Ethan. We have wrapped up the current investigation day and we'll be moving into the first trial sequence. Detective Luke Atme here has been monologuing at us for a bit. A new prosecutor, an ace detective, and a thief. This will be one tough trial. Sparkle, sparkle. Oh, even the transition music was a little different. Save the game. Save here. Main save here, since it's an episode transition, or a part transition. Here we go. Hey, Nick. What is it? Is something wrong? Nah, but did you see all the people here? It's crazy. Oh, so check out the Mask Damask Glossy I bought. You gotta make sure you attend to your obligations there, Sadie. You bought this where? From the little tents in front of the courthouse. They have all sorts of things on for sale. It's quite literally a show trial, I guess. Do they have concessions? You know I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. The publicity photos. Come on, I'm guilty. Throw the book at me. Who's screaming like that? Ah, our client. No, Mr. Wright, you made it. Yeah, I did, but it doesn't look like things are going to get any less ugly for you. Because I did it. I'm the criminal. Me, me, me. Good luck, Sidey. He's at it again. I sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor. I admit it. But you don't have the sacred urn, right? Well, that's true, but that doesn't mean that I didn't commit the crime. Normally when I say, of course you didn't, I'm being sarcastic, but you, yikes. Anyway, I admit that I'm guilty. So make sure they give me a guilty verdict, please? There you are, Ronnie. This is Ron Delight's wife here. There you are, Ronnie. Bonjour, sweetie. Tessie, honey. Bonjour. Well, actually, I don't really know why I should be speaking French to you at a time like this. He often trails off like that. That's what the fade to gray text is supposed to indicate. I think. Leave it all to me, Ronnie. I swear I'll protect you. You see, actually the thief is, me. Can I tell you something, Nicky boy? I can guarantee that my Ronnie is innocent. If he's declared guilty, I'll be ever so cross with you. So why are you smiling when you say it? Well, if you'll excuse me, I've got some errands I need to take care of. I wonder if they're trying to imply that one of the possible other identities for Mask to Mask is actually Desiree. Which is why she can be so certain that it's not him, that he has all this stuff in like a fan sense, and she actually uses it. Because he's just a security guard, and apparently somehow they're a very wealthy couple. Though there is also the possibility that Ron isn't a security guard, and that he owns the security company, because his ID opens the executive's door. To be honest, I really don't know whether Ron is masked to mask or not. But there's only one thing I am sure of. He doesn't have the sacred urn right now. Sacred urn being what was stolen from a vault behind a locked door while people were supposedly watching. The detective who was supposed to keep an eye on it was knocked unconscious. But the thief still passed through all of the security and seemingly didn't come out the same way, since the camera should have taken a second picture if that was the case. Mr. Delight, it's time for you to enter the courtroom. For the time being, I guess I'll have to trust Desiree. Since we've got some folks new to Phoenix Wright, this is much more closely based on the Japanese legal system. With an added twist that you have 3 days to prove innocence, and you have to prove innocence. Like, reasonable doubt is even hard to count on here. And that often takes the form of proving that someone else is actually the culprit. There is a strong presumption of guilt once the case is brought. Oh, yeah, it's that guy on some of the art. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight. The defense is ready, Your Honor. He's like he's got a cooler looking visor, but feels in the same vein as Geordie LaForge. facing off against Cyber Doctor. What about the prosecution? Are you prepared to... What a stupid question. What did you say? And let me ask you then, Your Honor, are you ready? Are you ready to pass judgment? No, I'm not. I'll pass judgment after I hear arguments from both sides. If you're not ready yourself, you shouldn't expect others to be. That's a rule to live by. I mean, the judge says he was going to do his job, and it feels like you're trying to skip your job. Who are you? I'm Godot. Legendary prosecutor. I've never lost a case. He has sort of, kind of a detective noir vibe to him, including his music. In his outfit, he's got the little sleeve straps and the vertical striped vest. He's the one that Detective Atme was talking about. Yes, your reputation precedes you. What kind of cases have you dealt with so far? None. What did you say? I've never prosecuted a case before. Okay. There's a lot of confidence in this man. Never? You said you've never lost before. Exactly. I've never lost. Never won before either. Okay. Quite arrogant for a beginner, aren't you? Even the mightiest of redwoods begins their lives as mere saplings. Yes, but a mask in a court of law? Don't you know anything? No matter the man, we all wear masks, either on our face or over our hearts. This trial seems to magnetically attract the flashy individuals, both in presentation and in personality. This guy is the real deal, all right, Nick. Why does it seem like all prosecutors are the real deal? At least he doesn't have a whip, Phoenix. So we finally meet Mr. Phoenix Wright. Oh, and now he's name-calling. Nick, is he a friend of yours? No, I don't have any friends that call me Trite. So who is this masked man? I've returned from the depths of hell to do battle with you. Oh, then, Prosecutor Gobo. We'll be facing off with a Fraggle, folks. It's not Gobo, it's Godot, Your Honor. Yeah, but we should still call you Gobo. Case, please give your opening statement. Opening statement? Those things are not fit for even dogs to consume. I'm kind of concerned if they call Atme to the stage, that the collision of those two is going to create some sort of horrible arrogance singularity when the mass of their egos collide. Only one thing to say before we start to you, Mr. Trite. What is it? Are you familiar with the saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link? I wonder, how much you can withstand before you and your case break into the casual dig that Phoenix is the the weak link. Gavel. Well then, let's hear from the first witness. Detective Dick Gumshoe. My name is... No one has asked for your name, witness. The important thing is what you know. That's all. Start talking. We're listening. Yes, sir. All right, witness. First, let's hear about what you know about the thief that stole the urn. Yes, sir. Detective Gumshoe. All parts of his name generally mean detective or private investigator. Is one of the recurrent characters. He's pretty much universally the first witness describing what the police know. Mask Damask is the master thief that first started his crime spree 6 months ago. He's so confident that he sends his calling card before he even commits the crime. This was his 5th heist, and as usual, he sent a card on to Lordly Taylor. His pattern is to always go after only the most precious art pieces. And that's why we're sure it was Mask Damask, sir. It fits his MO to a T. So then, the actual identity of this Mask Damask is... Mr. Godot, what are you? He's a Jedi. Neat. In the middle of a trial here, Mr. Godot. Blacker than a moonless night, hotter and more bitter than hell itself. That is coffee. Yeah. He would be, aside from the sci-fi visor, he would be very at home in the detective movie. Make him all monochrome and have his feet kicked up on a desk. Sure. I'm sure you can grant me at least this much, Your Honor. Oh, please, proceed. Only way for him to be more stereotypical in that regard would be if it was a glass of whiskey. Or similar alcoholic beverage. Doo-doo. Very well. It's only coffee, after all. You can't be letting him slide this early in the trial. Proceed with your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Well, Nick, what are you going to do? As long as they haven't brought up Mr. Delight's identity, all we can do now is show that it wasn't Mask Damask who stole the urn. Mask Damask is a master thief that first started his crime spree 6 months ago. Again, we don't need to reread those for the cross-examination. It's the same the first time. Have you been involved in the investigation from the beginning? Yep. Nobody knows more about the thief than me, pal. It's true. I'm a Zvari, author on thieves. Yes. He's also a sponge and been exposed to Luke Atmeat for too long. Author? He's written a book on thieves? I expect this is Gumshoe butchering authority. Yep. I think he probably means to say authority. The fact this guy can slip through even my fingers shows how good he is, pal. It's easy when those fingers happen to be butterfingers. So nobody knows more about the thief than you, huh?
got it, pal. Except maybe for the thief's mom, that is. But isn't there someone who knows even more about him than the police? You don't mean Detective Zvari, do you? Who is this person? Zvari? Sounds German. His name is Luke Atney, sir. I guess I shouldn't have made up such a silly name for him. Guess he's not all that famous after all. Anyway, it's true that he did manage to retrieve the last item the thief stole. I see. Seems you're not the expert you claim to be. Now, looks like the thief is toying with me even now. Have you seen all of these so-called calling cards? Of course I have, except the person in charge of the treasure exhibit never brought their card to the police. So I didn't see this one until after the crime occurred. That's because Detective Atney stopped Miss Andrews from taking it to the police. Was the calling card that Lordly Taylor received authentic? Well, all the cards have one common identifying feature. But we're not releasing that information to the general public. It's that little mask logo. But you're absolutely certain that this card is real. I'm sure you can't say it out loud, but I bet he's talking about Mask Damask's emblem. This was his 5th heist. As usual, he sent a card to Lordly Taylor. His 5th heist. And your 5th screw-up, huh? Rub it in, Phoenix. Objection, pal. That ain't fair. Maybe you could say I screwed up 4 times. But this time wasn't my fault. I didn't know about the calling card this time. Of all people shouldn't be chuckling about this, Detective Gumshoe. I just want everyone here in this courtroom to know something. If you ever get a calling card from this guy, don't call some stupid private eye. Call your local police right away, got me? Looks like he's really got it in for Detective Atney. His pattern is to always go after after only the most precious art pieces. The Sacred Urn is nominally, or at least is considered, the most valuable art piece at the exhibit. But it's out of its original state. It was broken in a trial like a game ago. And then crudely glued back together. And appraisal put it like under 20 bucks. So I think some of the other exhibits are probably worth more in materials. Art pieces? Like what, for example? His first target was the famous Tear of Eminon. What's that? Some kind of especially salty teardrop? No, sir, it's a blue diamond, a single rare diamond. Next was the Crown of Bangora, you know, the thing you put on your head. After that was the Left Hand of Hades, and then the Portrait of Megina. Megina? I don't know. Detective Atney even retrieved the Portrait of Megina and returned it to the museum. And the target of his 5th and last robbery was the Sacred Urn, right? But isn't it difficult for him to dispose of such famous art pieces? Well, we assume he must have some underworld connections. Somehow Mr. Delight doesn't look the type. He's a little too sunny to be hanging out in the underworld. What do you mean when you say it fits his MO to a T? I was thinking of asking the same thing myself. Wish you would listen a little more closely, pal. First of all, there's the calling card. We're 100% certain that it's authentic. And there's the fact that he seemed to know all about the security system. And finally, his target was an art piece. These are all part of the thief's modus operandi. And so, since this robbery seems to fit all those conditions, that's right, it means that Mask Damask is behind it. Definitely looks like Mask Damask who stole the urn. It was Mask Damask. But there's no real evidence. Either way, no real evidence either way as to whether Ron Delight is Mask Damask. But... Also, the urn hasn't turned up yet, let alone in connection to Mr. Delight himself. So even though we know it was Mask Damask that did it, maybe for the time being I should try to show it wasn't Mask Damask that did it. That won't backfire at all, I'm sure. What do we got? We might be able to use this when we say it fits his MO. Because this is something that's not actually, like, precious. Where would we use it? We're gonna put our save down. For those familiar with the Phoenix Wright games, well, explaining for those not familiar with the Phoenix Wright games, those familiar with Phoenix Wright games know that a critical part of playing the game is saving like crazy. Because sometimes you've got the right idea, but you used it at the wrong spot, and they don't accept it. There we go. Can I ask you a little something, Detective Gumshoe? Just hearing the little in that question is making me nervous. You said that he always goes after the most precious art pieces, right? That's right, pal. There's one problem. That's not what he did in this case. The supposedly priceless urn doesn't exactly rise to the level of precious art. What do you mean? Nick, how can you say such a terrible thing? The urn is a treasure from her village. Or at least it was, until Pearly accidentally smashed it. No, I meant from a financial point of view. I mean, it wouldn't fetch a good price. Well, Prosecutor Godot, what is the value of that urn? The appraisers I spoke to said they couldn't attach a price to it. And I mean that in the worst sense. It's not that it was priceless, it's that they wouldn't pay money for it. So in other words, it was not the kind of item that Mask Damask would normally go after. Irk. If I understand you correctly, Mr. Wright, you're saying that the theft of the sacred urn was not the work of Mask Damask. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Actually, all I did was point out the contradiction. The argument made itself, but... First of all, we need to get this issue cleared up. Was the last robbery the work of Mask Damask or not? What do you have to say about this, Mr. Godot? This coffee here, it's my own special blend. I call it Godot number 107. He's going to be a ton of fun, isn't he, folks? I'm trying to decide whether to cut down on the acidity or the bitterness. It's the only thing I've got in my mind right now, Mr. Trite. What? You're really a man. You should clean up your own mess. Sorry, but I don't get what you mean. You're saying it wasn't Mask Damask that stole the urn, then it must be someone imitating Mask Damask's methods. Oof, that one's tricky. Fake. A fake Mask Damask? Fake Damask? That sounds so ridiculous, but I like it. He reminds me of, I can't
recall her name now, but she's currently the curator for the exhibit where the theft happened. When she was involved in a trial, whenever her statements were disrupted and it shocked her, her glasses would explode, and then she would reach into a pocket and pull out another pair. Like they would shatter off of her face. I get the same sort of vibes whenever this guy wants to be dramatic. He conjures a cup of coffee from off-screen. Though I guess to be fair, he could have an assistant with a whole coffee brewing apparatus and assembly line off to the right. Before I decide on my coffee, I believe some proof is in order, Mr. Wright. Proof that the person who appeared at Lordly Taylor that night was actually a fake. Though I don't approve of Mr. Godot's behavior, his point is valid. Mr. Wright, we're waiting. This is what I was mentioning earlier, is it's not just sufficient for you to show that it could have been something else. To point out that they don't have solid proof of something. It's you have to provide proof to the contrary. Looks like I'm going to have to prove it. Looks like you're going to have to save it. That's what you're going to have to do. That little meter that appeared in the upper right indicates to us that if we mess it up, we're going to pay a penalty, and you can only do that 5 times before you have to start the trial over. Thus, all of the saving. Person at Lordly Taylor that night was in fact, fake Damask. Check this. Oh, that neck piece. Yeah, he doesn't have the neck piece. You see in the outfit there, he's got the whole coat, and then you have the little, like, leaf things going down the center of his coat. But if we look at his publicity photo, he's got the little, like, devil head thing. So I don't know which one I have to show. So we're going to try the publicity photo first. What is this evidence supposed to prove? Well, it proves someone here is a fake, all right. It proves that the lawyer is a fake. Okay, yep. So that is the fixed answer that will happen if I get it wrong. Okay, let's show this one. Yep, here we go. Usually the music stops, but if I get something other than that opening, like, what are you talking about? Then it's usually right. The proof is right here. This looks like a photo taken by a security camera. But if you look closely, you'll notice something peculiar about it. Ha! Well then, why don't you go ahead and show us where it is? This particular operation here is why the cell phone version of Phoenix Wright games are a hassle. Because you have to make sure that you don't double tap when you touch something. You have to press, move the cursor, and then determine if that's what you want, and then you press again in the same spot. Right here, of course. You mean Mask to Mask? I have here a piece of reference I would like the court to take a look at. Isn't that the publicity photo I bought this morning? The problem I have with the security camera photo is the brooch on Mask to Mask's chest. Okay, the size of that thing, I feel like it has risen above, perhaps transcended the concept of brooch. It has approached some form of other entity. It is no longer serving as merely a clasp, but nearly a second head.
A breach? Here? Bailiff, get my steed. We need to retreat at once. A brooch, Your Honor. It's a sort of clasp for holding one's cape. Clasp, huh? Oh, I see now. But mask to mask in the security camera photo is wearing neither brooch nor actual cape. He has no brooch. That brooch is the same as the emblem on Mask to Mask calling card and serves as his symbol. But the thief that broke into Lordly Taylor wasn't wearing a brooch. In other words, this Mask to Mask is a fake. I've been fooled again. Gavel. It's true. Undeniably true. Detective Gumshoe, how could you have overlooked this? I'm sorry, sir. I don't know how I conjure coffee. Hey now, if you're gonna have a pity party, invite me too. Mr. Godot, you deserve some blame in this too. How could you have overlooked such a large brooch? Huh, the brooch you're talking about. You mean this? Ah, that's Mask to Mask's brooch. Where did you find it? Well, I've always had a good nose for evidence. I got it at the crime scene. It was hidden in the shadow of a big female Buddha statue. Buddha statue? You mean the Ami Faye statue? Why didn't you tell me about that, sir? I always put evidence away in my pocket. After all, it's the safest place for crucial evidence. You know, where I can mess with it to a maximum extent just by touching it. I really gotta handle it, really rub it in that pocket lint. That makes it good evidence. This guy's one cool customer. Conjure coffee. A little early to be shaken up, isn't it, little lady? That friend of yours left pretty little hickeys on there, too. Hickeys. Figuratively speaking, of course. I'm referring to Ron Delight's fingerprints. What? What? The defendant's fingerprints are on the brooch. Gavel! Mr. Godot, let's see that brooch. I've grown attached to my metallic girlfriend here. Take good care of her. Strange man, Godot. It appears to have been torn off some clothing. There's a little bit of cloth left on the back. Obviously, there must have been a big struggle that night at the crime scene. Uh-oh. Phoenix, we have a problem. You mess with Godot, and you get burned. And playing me like a violin. Well, Judge, I'm ready to call my next witness. Huh? You're done with me? But I haven't proved anything yet. You've proven your own incompetence. That's good enough. It doesn't sound good at all. Bring the next witness into the courtroom. Finally time for the ace detective to make his appearance. Huh? Sparkle, sparkle. 1 second is 1 second is one drip of the coffee pot. Let's hurry it up. Silence? Giggle. Now I see it's all becoming clear. What's clear? Sorry. The truth has once again been elegantly revealed to me. What we have here is a judge and a prosecutor. A coffee maniac at that. Am I correct? Oh, yes, that's right. Not bad. Not bad at all. Using your eyes with their amazing powers of looking at things. You're the first person that's ever been able to penetrate my secret veil. You know, his cleverly concealed ruse that there's something other than coffee in the mug that he keeps referring to as having coffee in it. Oh, Sir Prosecutor, let me introduce myself. My name is Luke Atney, ace detective and rising star illuminating the heavens. These two make a perfect pair. They'd either be best friends or they'd tear each other's heads off. Let's hope for that latter one. It would be neat. I suspect the animation that we would see would be impressive. I've heard that on the night of the crime, you were all alone on security detail. You've heard correctly. My specially made monocle is worth more than 100 Detective Gumshoes. If Detective Gumshoe was worth anything, that is. Why was this guy all by himself, anyway? There must be some reason, I'm sure of it. Well then, tell us what this special monocle of yours witnessed. Well, we know he didn't witness the criminal take action because he was knocked out. It was approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, just after the date changed. It's when my nemesis, the infamous Mask Damask, dancingly descended upon me. Just as I began to turn, the coward struck a fierce blow upon my noble head. Darkness swallowed me before I could land a single strike. When I awoke, he was gone. 30 minutes later, I used an emergency phone to notify the police. So you didn't get a clear look at the criminal. My specially made monocle never misses a thing. However, that is limited to things that fall within my visual range. But of course, that's only natural. I fail to see why the witness seems so proud of his performance that evening. Well, Sir Old-Timer, let me explain. We are not speaking of any ordinary thief, but of the king of thieves, the great Mask Damask, my arch-enemy. That is what my instincts and my years of experience tell me. Very well, proceed with the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. No worries, Ethan. We are continuing through the trial stage. It was approximately 1 o'clock. So, that would be 1 o'clock on the morning of the 12th, correct? It's an impressive deduction, Sir Lawyer. We know how time works. You were on security duty that night. Where exactly were you at the time? A penetrating question. It was in the basement warehouse near the computer. Near the computer, huh? Which is somewhere in this vicinity. So then you weren't trying to remain hidden, I take it. Up to this point, I've tried to remain concealed while waiting for the thief. And he said the same thing yesterday, too. Gumshoe also said they've never spotted the thief at the crime scenes before. Precisely. That is precisely why I chose not to hide last night. I knew that by not concealing myself, I would be putting pressure on the thief. Looks like the thief was the one applying pressure. On your pigeony head, that is. Pigeony. In any case. Dancingly descended upon me. Dancingly descended? From where exactly? Well, from the entrance, I suppose. Where else? So in actuality, he neither danced nor descended. Someone please save me. So how is it that you didn't notice the thief? My eyes were looking for the thief's shadow, while my ears listened for his footfalls. But even so, that dastardly criminal managed to sneak up on me. There's only like one entrance to the place. It can only be due to his subtly camouflaged cape and soft-soled shoes. They're my W-ace dunce. You didn't see the criminal's face when that happened? Welcome back, Saif. Sounds like everybody's finishing up their homework tonight. Well, that's the difficult part. How should I put it? I saw his mask. That's all I can recall. It's not very solid as far as testimony goes. However, fortunately I had my third monocle, the security camera, at ready. I captured this image perfectly. This should be sufficient, I believe. It's not to say you shouldn't do it, just an observation that at least 2 people in the channel are doing similar things. Well, as long as the photo is authentic, I don't see a problem here. Oh, Mr. Godot, do you have a problem with the photo? Good, then let's continue with the testimony. Darkness swallowed me before I could land a single strike. When I woke, he was gone. Attacked and knocked unconscious, and you weren't able to do a thing. That's certainly some very impressive detective work. Well, Sir Lawyer, have you ever been suddenly struck on the head? Technically, yes. Phoenix was smacked with a fire extinguisher, which I believe was a conceit to do a tutorial setup. Because the criminal wanted to try to seize a cell phone back from him that was in evidence. Huh? Well, actually, yes. By a fire extinguisher. Yeah, cool. Canonical consistency, go. And what happened? I was knocked out. And you lost your memory, too. You see, you have no right to look down on me then, do you? The only reason I didn't lose my memory was because I have more brains to begin with. You have brains, but the wiring to the self-reflection part seems to be severed. In any case, that was how I was knocked senseless. And then... 30 minutes later, I used an emergency phone to notify the police. About this 30 minutes. My silver cord was loosened and my soul fled to the golden halls of Elysium. The silver cord being a concept of what holds your soul to your body. It's also referenced in a lot of D&D content as the thing that connects you to your body if you go into the astral plane without going there physically. Let's see. Oh, hello there. Would you prefer Aimer or Ricky? Not sure if you prefer the actual or the parenthetical in your handle. As usual, I have no idea what this guy is saying. I think he's saying that he was out cold. So, what happened during these 30 minutes? No one can say, Your Honor. That span of time has truly vanished into the ether. What is he going on about? Something suspicious about Detective Atney. How could he not have noticed when the thief came in? Also, he says he was knocked unconscious before he could fight back. But that can't be right. It contradicts the evidence. The brooch was torn off of something, so if the thief in the photo was the one that was wearing the brooch, then that moment of conflict should have been when it was torn off. Otherwise, when did that happen? Question is, why would he tell such an obvious lie? Just gonna do our standard drop a save. In any event, how are you doing tonight, gamer? Homer? Not sure. Anyway. Welcome back, Ethan. Mr. Atney, could you take a look at this with that special monocle of yours? Aha! This belongs to the criminal mastermind. My arch nemesis, Mask Damask. Stretch? It is, in point of fact, Mask Damask's brooch. It was found on the floor of the basement warehouse. I wonder how that happened. Elementary, my dear lawyer. Obviously, it wasn't glued on well enough. Glued. Not quite. It clearly shows signs of having been ripped off of a piece of clothing. Ripped off? Aha! We can only deduce that the thief struggled with someone that night. That's the only thing I can think of. And there's only one person that was in a position to have struggled with the thief. The only person that was on security duty that night. You, Detective Luke Atney. Detective Atney, you must have fought the thief that night. So why did you lie in your testimony to the court? Phoenix smug face. Witness, giving false testimony is a serious crime. Except when it's in this courtroom, where it happens constantly. No. Just wait a moment, Sir Old-Timer. Don't talk to me like I'm living in a nursing home. I just remembered, Your Honor. I was just confused because I've been dealing with so many cases lately. The true measure of a man is the amount of work he does. That's what I always say. Nick, you can only handle one case at a time, isn't that right? You talk too much. Quiet, you. Witness. So are you saying that you and the thief fought? Hold on. That's quite enough. Your Honor. Excuse me? Conjure, coffee. Save the big questions for the testimony. That's one of my rules. Indeed, I understand. I, Luke Atney, completely agree. Fight with the thief. Indeed, it's true that I looked away from the door for a brief moment. However, Luke Atney cannot be so easily discombobulated. Discombobulated. Unfortunately, the thief grabbed a weapon from the side and rendered me senseless. A true gentleman fights only with his own fists, but they were not enough. His first blow struck true. Bam! And that's all she wrote. So you didn't catch a glimpse of him. Correct. It's during his third crime that he struck me from behind. It seems that my memory has become a tad jumbled, so to speak. Well, that's certainly understandable. I myself always get confused about which testimony goes with which case. Much like Detective Gumshoe, the judge frequently demonstrates that he's bad at his job. That can't be good. Okay, quick break, and then we will continue with the cross-examination, folks.
We will be right back. Situated, and then we will be back at it here. And we're back. Elements of the transition there seem to be a little off. It cuts over a little fast. Might have to tweak the timing. Yeah, they updated some of the music for this one. We still have Sky up there. We have... Do a quick kitty check here. Give Ember some camera time, huh? Look, there's Snooze in there. Some energy to this stuff. You wouldn't expect this kind of thing to have as solid music that it does. Well, hello, Sammy. Sammy has come for her pettings. Red looked away from the door for a brief moment. So why did you look away from the door anyway? In addition to the camera, I had prepared a variety of other sensors as well. The alarm on one of those had gone off, so I had to check the data.
That's why I went to the computer. Elegantly, of course. So you were momentarily vulnerable when you were working on the computer. What should I do? Should I ask more questions? Tell us of this sensor. What kind of sensors are you talking about? There are other places in the basement that someone could enter and exit from. There are the air conditioner ducts, sewer pipes, and a cat door as well. Ooh, quality. I hooked up heat-detecting infrared and ultraviolet sensors to each of them. Wow. Given the chunky black and white camera that he was using for the main entrance to the vault, he spared no expense on everything else. A lot of hardware. Was it all yours? Lordly Taylor Department Store was kind enough to provide the monitoring hardware. Naturally, the security camera that took the photo belongs to them as well. It's gotta come up at some point that the camera only took one photo, and this is it. Him leaving ostensibly, the thief leaving the vault room with the box. Another thing that has to come up soon is the rectangle in the paint here. The box has paint marks on it too, around some of the edges, and there is this right angle missing piece from the paint here. The implication being the box was here already, and they just picked up the box. And I would say that they posed for this picture to imply that they went in, stole it, and came back out, when in actuality, the box was hidden over here. This seems convoluted enough to be the sort of thing that would happen in a Phoenix Wright trial. In other words, he couldn't have rigged the equipment, huh? Has that cleared up any doubts that you had about me, Mr. Lawyer? Discombobulated. That's a fun word. It's another one of those words that's hard to say without sounding silly. Like waffle. And yes, I've made that joke frequently. I still think waffle is a silly word. Not that waffles are silly, but it's hard to say waffle without seeming silly. What does that mean, discombobulated? Young people these days, they really irritate me. They allow perfectly good old words to die until everyone forgets what they mean. Will do. If you encounter something that you don't understand, Ethan, or really anyone, just ask the question. We're a casual channel. Feel free to chat. I can always pause narrating to have a conversation with you folks. That do be how we are. And there's always the possibility that I'm pausing narration to scratch a cat's chin like I'm doing right now. Sammy gets all the attention that she wants. Right now she's having a good time scraping all of the, scraping each finger clean here. Sorry, but what exactly does it mean, anyway? Now I've forgotten. What was I saying? Better than old people who forget what they were saying 5 seconds ago. Anybody else feel called out? Well, it looks like we've cleared that up. You can go on with your testimony. Fortunately, the thief grabbed a weapon from the side and rendered me senseless. What do you mean by weapon from the side? Naturally, that thief had no idea that I, Luke Atney, was hiding in the area. You weren't hiding. You described that you weren't hiding, you were by the computer, which is right out in the open. He grabbed the sword from the statue that was standing by the door to the warehouse. The sword? You mean the sword that was all twisted like a tree branch? Correct. Fortunately for me, the blade was not sharp. Okay, so he is talking about the Shichi Shito, which is another treasure from the village, though it is a relatively soft iron sword that was bent on impact with his skull. We don't know if that... and Maya did the same thing to Phoenix for some reason. I don't know if it's supposed to be an indication of the softness of the sword as an ornament, as opposed to a weapon, or if it's an indication of the hardness of the heads of Detective Atlee and Phoenix Wright both. So the thief armed himself with a sword, and what about yourself, witness? A true gentleman fights only with his own fists, but they were not enough. Speak to me of your incapability of defending yourself. You had that much faith in your own fighting abilities? But of course, in college I was the second in charge of the boxing club. Second in charge. Not second place or, second in line or something like that. That implies that he was like the assistant team manager kind of thing, where they're in charge of the cleaning up and getting all the supplies in place. I'm sorry if I failed to find that appropriately impressive. However, my opponent in the ring this time was my arch nemesis, Mask to Mask. This guy is really a piece of work. His first blow struck true, bam, and that's all she wrote. Can you tell us a little more about what happened? My opponent was both powerful and vicious. You might say he was powericious. No, we won't. Powericious. I assumed the at me fighting stance, but a sudden flash of light blinded me. That, of course, was checkmate. My opponent had bested me. What do I do now? Should I ask more about this? So what was this flash of light that blinded you? It was bathed in a golden light that seemed to come from the statue of the woman. Statue of Amy Faye, I'm guessing. Well, that wasn't very much help at all. What do you think, Nick? There's one thing that I'm absolutely sure of now. Yeah? What is it? This look at me guy. He's definitely hiding something. But why? I think I'm starting to figure out what really happened that night. And about the true nature of this detective. At the very least, it seems like he's an accomplice. What do we got? It's to the back of the head. Drop another save. Okay. So... we went too far, so it cycles around again. Nope. If Phoenix ever says something along the lines of just Your Honor, the statement is faulty, then it's wrong. Like, you have guessed incorrectly. Found in the statue of Amy. In the shadow of. Okay. To figure out where and what, you know? Wasn't able to fight back. Nope. You can see that, like, right now, in the upper right corner, the two red flashing marks. If we guess wrong, what would happen is we'd lose those two red flashing bars, and then it would loop again. Which means you could make 5 such mistakes before you'd have to start over. Again, why we save so frequently here. Because those mistakes add up and they're very easy to make. So the sword is clearly removed from the statue. Away from the door for a brief moment. Wait a minute. Yeah, just before 1. So it's meant that this is consistent, is he took a blow to the head. But it doesn't matter that it was to the back of the head when he's describing getting into a fight with him. Let's go back through some of the pressing on these. Sudden flash of light blinded me. What is this at-me fighting style? Sorry, but that's a trade secret. I really can't say anymore. But I suppose I can tell you if I absolutely must. The main thing is to put your back to the wall. That way no one can get behind you.
This should make the sword contradict it.
There we go. That's it. That's the at-me fighting style. It's very important. Yep. Okay, we had to ask about the fighting style. Because if he's back to the wall, he can't get hit from behind. Like, explicitly, that's what at-me is claiming he does that for. So they can't get behind him. Of course it's important. We've learned the detective's secret technique, after all. You know, I'll remember to use it if I ever take a walk alone late at night. Heck is he why the heck is he eyeballing me like that? It's creeping me out. Gavel. We'll go ahead and add that secret information to your official testimony. Detective at-me, your testimony is crumbling like a house of cards. What fun this is, Sir Lawyer. It is truly a pleasure to cross swords with you. Sparkle. And now, once again, you have thrown down the gauntlet at my armored feet. I believe this is what you said yesterday. The coward must have wormed his way in through somewhere besides the door. And my arch-nemesis struck me on the head from behind with this gruesome item with that gruesome item there. From behind, huh? But just now you testified that he struck you on the forehead. The third eye comment would be the forehead. I hardly think you could forget where you were hit on the head. It seems I've made another mistake. Detective at-me, that's not the only strange part of your testimony. What do you mean by that? For example, the very fact that you hid the calling card from the police itself is strange. It's almost as if you were afraid they were going to help with security. Indeed. Geniuses such as myself have always been misunderstood. How sad. That's wrong. Godot has a relatively deep voice. To err is human, to forgive divine. Humans aren't machines. They have souls, feelings. They live, they die, they love, they hate. And yes, they even make mistakes. Hey, hold on. It's not as pretty as that. Oh, neat. That's some force that he brought that down with. Really? What is it like, then? Always chase a riddle down to the end. That's one of my rules. Godot has a lot of rules. I wonder if they're written down somewhere. I feel like given how he's talking about his rules so much, I feel like he's the kind of person that would have a bunch of notebooks on a shelf that would be Godot's Rules, volume 54, and, you know, you pan out and the entire room is covered in bookshelves. This is it. This might just be my chance to turn things around. Mr. Wright, what exactly is it that you're asserting? Very well, Your Honor. The defense asserts that Mr. at-me is masked to mask. The answer is simple. It's all clear to me now. Detective Luke at-me's true identity is actually Mask to Mask. That is his full shock animation. Gavel, gavel, gavel. Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this? It's the same thing I do every time there's a trial, Your Honor.
wildly accuse somebody else and then prove it's right.
There are too many unnatural parts to Mr. Atney's story. He says he was hiding at the crime scenes, which is why no one ever saw him there. And then, in his last case, he manages to outperform Detective Gumshoe and the entire police force to miraculously retrieve the stolen treasure. That's because I analyzed the crime scene data and made an exquisitely elegant deduction. I picked up clues that the police overlooked in order to arrive at... Oh, please. The explanation is far simpler than that, Detective Atney. The truth is that you are, in fact, Mask to Mask. But, Mr. Wright, this photo, it clearly shows Mask to Mask. The security camera belongs to Lordly Taylor Department Store. I'd also be worried about the structure of Mask to Mask's mask. And Luke Atney's nose. Which, to wear that particular mask, which has a very vertical, nasal line there, would require that either his nose... Well, since we can't see the nose jammed down over his lips, must have been turned upwards in a 90-degree angle. If that's what he was doing, then you have to applaud his pain tolerance. Or perhaps his nose is just very bendy. He shouldn't have been able to manipulate it. He didn't need to manipulate it. He gained access to the warehouse under the pretense of providing security. Then he simply dressed up as the thief and stole the urn. So the ace detective is actually an ace thief? Is this true, witness? Did you do the crimes? You can tell us. Mask to Mask MO is pure genius, and so am I, Luke Atney, ace detective. I like his laugh. That laugh animation is good. You are very clever to have come to such a conclusion. I am impressed, Sir Lord. What? Witness, you're admitting it? Nick, now's your chance. Time to put the last nail in this guy's coffin. Desk slam. Detective Atney.
Oh, okay, so it is going to be like Francisca. We're going to be assaulted on a regular basis during the trial. Neat. Godot Blend number 102. My personal favorite. Mr. Godot. The ace detective is actually an ace thief. I smell a best-selling novel. There's only one problem. It simply isn't true. But, Mr. Godot, Mr. Wright has made some very strong points, and I like how Phoenix is still, just flabbergasted there, just dazed. Just not as entertaining for you, huh, Tass? I will admit, my opponent has woven a compelling narrative out of whole cloth. But it is, in fact, nothing more than a patchwork quilt. Mr. Trite. If this detective really is the thief, then show us the proof of your claim. But it had better be as hot and as perfect as the coffee dripping down your face. Oh. And again, this kind of thing is perfectly okay. It's entirely fine that the prosecution hurled a mug full of coffee across the courtroom, beamed the defense right on the forehead with it, and doused them what he is telling us is very hot coffee. That's just fine. Well, Mr. Wright, don't just stand there, slowly having your skin melt off your forehead. This court would like to see some decisive proof you have, quickly.
Gonna save. Phoenix will be fine in the interim. Huh? Oh, yes, of course. What's the big rush? Are you alright, Nick? Atme looks pretty rattled right now. I'd like to finish this right now if I can. But can I really do it? The decisive evidence that proves Luke Atme is in fact Mask to Mask. I think here. The defense comes prepared, Your Honor. Gavel! Present the proof. Oh, excuse me. It's either, I think, either the security camera photo or the record that only one entry was made. I'm gonna start here, and if it doesn't work, then it should be the camera. Here's your proof. Nope. Camera it is. Welcome back, Ethan. We have just accused the ace detective of actually being the thief. So we're supposed to supply decisive proof. Neither of those. I feel like we have to provide the proof. But it's not in the picture. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it happened. We already checked that picture. I was hoping to see the shiny red ring, but... that didn't work. Neither of the things that you'd think that it would be are the thing. It's not the camera data, and it's not the camera. Again, it really should be the camera data or the camera, because we know that there was only one entry. But, to be fair, that doesn't prove it. Doesn't prove it. It's a wild guess, but perhaps something about the statue glowing. But it was just moved. What does that say? All right, we're gonna try the we don't have it. Proof. Got nothing. That's what I thought. And has to hold his head up high no matter how bad things get, after all. Thought perhaps you had some evidence to back up your assertion. It's no good, I've got to stay on the attack. I'll never get another chance to prove this guy is the thief. Don't give up, Nick. Think harder and try again. No good, I'm just not ready yet. Are you going to just give up and let us lose now? You've come to your senses, have you, Sir Lawyer? Can't think of a counterattack at all. Seems the cloud of suspicion surrounding this witness has lifted. Mr. Godot, if you hold it. So this might be a circumstance where we had to not try to present evidence. Who are you? This is Desiree here. The defendant's wife. That doesn't really matter right now, does it? Kinda does. Miss Delight, what are you doing here? Nicky boy, the thing you've been looking for, I think I found it. Okay, this is Atme's bag that he didn't let us look in. I mean, legitimately didn't let us look in, but apparently she snatched it. Neat. You mean that bag? No, not the bag. What's in the bag? Oh, and it's got that paint all over it. Now, it's presented as the cracks fitting together a lot better, but every other image we've had of it shows that the pieces of it are terribly misaligned because Pearl couldn't figure out how to put it back together properly. That's why it says Ami instead of Mai. I'm sorry, that... Oh, no. It said I am, but it's actually been put back together. Interesting. Because it's supposed to say Ami. It's an urn that's supposed to contain... that did contain the spirit of the one that's shown in of the person the statue is of. Words. But it's actually been put together properly. It's also still splattered with that pink paint that's on the ground in the warehouse. That's the sacred urn. Nick, it's the urn. Gavel. You, madam. That urn, where did you find it? You'll never believe it. It was in the office of Mr. Fancy Pants Ace Detective, Luke Atney. This is still suspect, though. It matches the descriptors that Phoenix had of what he felt in the bag, but we don't know what it was. And for her to show up and say, look, the urn was in the bag, doesn't tell us that for sure that the urn was in the bag. Just that she, potentially put the urn in the bag. Let's find out. Wright task. She could be doing this to, muddy the waters here. Oh, Desi, you're the best, is Ron, the defendant, calling out. It's pink splotches all over it. How do you explain that, Mr. Atney? Even you are going to have a hard time weaseling out of this one. Huh, pathetic. Mr. Godot, do you have something you wish to say? Yes, Your Honor. It simply amazes me how quickly times change. In the old days, a man was to be taken at his word. It's truly sad. Ethan, Desiree there is a a motorcycle enthusiast. She is wearing what looks like a red leather jumpsuit. So being glossy red is, I think, aligns in that way. You're still denying that Mr. Atney was involved? Before casting aspersions at Detective Atney, consider the young lady here. Her name is Desiree. Desiree Delight. Is that correct? Godot having a lot of detective stereotype imagery around him, like noir film stereotype. Desiree's name also has the same sort of stereotypes. She is the sort that you would expect to walk in like that sort of outfit, but a wide-brimmed hat instead of goggles. Yes, what about it? Conjure coffee. Ha, how charming. The lengths that a woman is willing to go to save her husband is truly inspiring. What are you insinuating? As the wife of the criminal, you could have discovered that stolen urn anywhere, including the office of the good detective here. So you found the urn. What does that prove? It certainly doesn't prove where the urn was before you found it. Yep, Godot is making a good point. What? I just brought it here from the detective's office. Please, madam. This town is already filled to the brim with lies. Any more could only compound the tragedy we have been witness to. You're wrong. I would never do such a thing. Miss Delight. Please, Nicky boy. You've got to help me talk some sense into these people. There must be some way. I've got to prove that that urn was actually in the Atlee Detective Agency. So Mask to Mask is wearing gloves in the content, so we shouldn't be able to find fingerprints. We never saw the urn in the bag. I think we have to say I can't prove it yet. I can't prove anything yet. But Nick. Gavel. Very well. Looks like that's all then. Exactly. And this urn is all the proof I need to make my case. What? You still don't get it, huh? Listen closely, Mr. Wright. Conjure coffee. This is the urn that Mask to Mask stole, right? Now, the wife of the accused comes strolling in here with the very same urn, correct? Now, who would you think is the thief? Oh, that's wrong. That's not why I've got it. Nick, you can't let him do this. This isn't good. There has to be another way around this. Your Honor, please let me think it over one more time. Mr. Wright, it's high time you learned your lesson, for it is no place for poorly thought out or rash declarations. Once again, history says otherwise. I have to be careful. He won't be so nice next time. Oh, okay, wait. If it was in the bag, Phoenix touched it. I can prove where the urn was. By the fingerprints on it. Fingerprints, eh? Oh, come now. Now you're really making me laugh, Sir Lawyer. Fingerprints indeed. May I go on? Good. Now, it would be perfectly understandable if my fingerprints were on the urn. After all, it was I who was guarding the urn in the first place. In any case, I am always in the habit of wearing gloves, as you can see. So, unfortunately, my fingerprints wouldn't be evidence of anything. What about it, Mr. Wright? This witness's fingerprints would mean nothing anyway. What are you going to do now? Atlee must have brought the urn back to his office yesterday, and there I'm sure someone must have left their fingerprints on it. The defense proposes that the fingerprints of this person would be on the urn. Phoenix Wright. So what is all this fuss about fingerprints anyway? Mr. Atlee, do you recall the events of yesterday? Hey, Nick, come on, open it up. This is Maya encouraging us to root around in the bag on Atlee's table. Can't just open his private property. Don't be such a fuddy-duddy. This is an important investigation. Well, what's in there? a second. Taking it out now. Whatever it is, it feels hard and smooth. So, Phoenix managed to touch the whatever was in the bag. And then Atme interrupted them. It's true that I didn't get a chance to look in the bag at the time, but I did touch what was inside. What? You touched it? And I remember it very well. It was smooth and hard. Well, that was just... Your Honor, I'd like the court to examine the fingerprints on that urn. If my fingerprints are on there, then it proves that the urn was in Detective Atme's office. Well, even if your fingerprints are on the urn, it still doesn't prove when they were put there, does it? Of course it does. What did you say? It's not what I say, but what Adrian Andrews, the person in charge of the exhibition, said. I polished it until it was just about glowing. I thought maybe I could make it look more valuable. If she polished it that much, she must have removed any and all fingerprints on it. And the only chance I had to get my fingerprints on it after that was yesterday at the Atme Detective Agency. Huh, this blend, Godot blend number 107, and along with the notebooks of all of his rules, includes a equally large set of notebooks of all of his coffee blends. I've decided it's a little too bitter after all. That mask is actually mechanical in some way. It's wildly overheating. Gavel. I accept the defense's request. Bailiff, take this urn and... Wait. Wait a moment, Your Honor. There's no need for that. No need, you say? Precisely. You already know, I already know Mr. Wright's fingerprints are on the urn. What are you saying? Finally broken him down. Laugh. Oh, them's crazy eyes now. Yep. The man that went into that laugh did not come out the other side unscathed. Take a good look, everyone. Unable to find a rival worthy of my genius, I was forced to create one by myself. Here I am, the tragic clown. This guy is nuttier than a fruitcake. You see, it was me all along. I am the one and only Mask de Mask. I hope you all enjoyed my little performance. Oh, Mr. Godot, what's Mr. Atme's condition? He's still in the lobby, laughing insanely, Your Honor. I wish I could enjoy the joke as much as he seems to be. Gavel. Looks like the matter has been settled. I came perilously close to besmirching the record of an innocent young man. Besmirching him with the title of thief. Besmirching. Nick, you were right after all. Yeah, I guess Mr. Delight really wasn't the thief. The court finds the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, inevitable interruption incoming. There we go. You're wrong. Wrong, I tell you. I mean, not exactly wrong so much, but actually not right is what I was really trying to say. Ron will often do this, is he will interrupt and then he'll sort of waffle through it. Waffle. Oh no, he's not. This can't be happening. The thief, the sneaky, odious thief who's been stealing all the treasures. It's me. I'm him. I'm the one you want. I'm the thief, I tell you. So do it. Pronounce me guilty, please. I don't know what kind of kangaroo court you all think this is, but the judge is like, you're all making fun of me, aren't you? The true identity of the thief has already been proven. Please hurry and pass judgment. What are you talking about? I already confessed. I'm the thief, I tell you. Conjure coffee. Mr. Godot, don't just stand there drinking coffee. Ah, hey there, Mr. Thief. Yes, sir? If you're really a man, then clean up your own mess. I'm sorry, I'm afraid I just don't have any idea what you mean. If you are mask to mask, then prove it. That's what it means. Yes, sir, I'd be happy to. He says he'll be happy to, Nick. It's kinda cute. He's 100% committed to his fantasy. Good boy. Just remember one thing. A boy only gets one chance in his life. To become a man. I know that. I won't fail, I swear. Okay, then talk. We're all listening. Oh well, let's all have a listen to this confession. Mask to mask's identity. The truth is, I've been mask to mask all along. I mean, you can't prove that I'm not actually mask to mask, can you? I don't have an alibi for the night the urn was stolen, after all. I donned my costume that night and dancingly descended upon the scene of the crime. Look, you can see right here in this photo. That's me. As for my brooch, I snagged it on the door handle and it got torn off, that's all. I don't like the direction this trial is taken. But this is how every trial goes. At least with me, anyway. Oh, we have a canonical in-world admission that this is how it always goes in these trials. Ah. You're doing great. Stop it, Mr. Godot. You're embarrassing me. Like I said, you're only going to get one chance to testify, alright? But if you make it through this with flying colors, I'll keep my promise, too. I'll make sure you stay locked up in prison as one of the one and only true mask to mask. Thanks so much, Mr. Godot. I'll do my best. This is our defendant. Desperately trying to confess. And without the, sort of motivation that the chief prosecutor had in the prior trial. I'm afraid it's time for the cross-examination. The truth is, I've been mask to mask all along. I mean, you can't prove that I'm not actually him. You may think you're the real mask to mask, but your wife thinks you're delusional. I haven't told Desi yet about my true identity. Believe me, I've got my reasons. With the way your room is decked out, how could she not know about it? Even thieves have complicated family situations, I suppose. What should I do? Sounds like we're about to get sidetracked again. Welcome back, Sidey. Yeah, getting pretty late there. You continue with your testimony for now. I think it's the alibi. You've got no alibi? I've been a judge for a long time. And this is the first time I've ever heard a defendant brag about having no alibi. I tell you that I was in Lordly Taylor that night. Or, no. That's too vague, even for me. To be more precise, I was down in the basement warehouse. Hold on. What is it, Nick? Where was Ron Delight when the crime happened anyway? You can prove he had an alibi for the case. After all, this will be a piece of cake. Well, if you need to get some sleep, Sidey. You don't want to get your your sleep schedule all thrown off. You're right, but think you can prove that? Wake up and smell the coffee. Oh, I think maybe I can. I think we do. I have the evidence, or do you think I'm still some sort of third-rate rookie? Oh, I've never seen you this angry before. I'm not surprised. Anger is the last refuge of the pathetic. Wonder who this guy actually is, because he seems to have a vendetta. Thought I was more confident than angry. Let's see this evidence already. Present. Mr. Delight, this wallet belongs to you, correct? Ah, yes, it does. I'd lost it somewhere. Mr. Wright, when did you find a wallet? You should report it to the police right away. No, you don't understand. This is an important piece of evidence. Evidence? Mr. Delight, when did you first notice that you'd lost your wallet? Let's see. I think it was on the night of the crime. But I know I still had it when Desi and I went out for dinner. This wallet was found at approximately 1 a.m. at KB Security Headquarters. Surely you're not serious. Yes, I am serious. This proves that Mr. Delight was in fact at KB Security that night. No! Ember having to flip over and toast to the other side. If the defendant was at KB Security at 1 o'clock in the morning, then that proves that he has a watertight alibi. Furthermore, considering the distance between Lordly Taylor and KB Security, it would have taken 30 minutes to get there by car, according to Larry anyway. We don't know if that means that it would take way longer or way less time. Well, Mr. Godot, do you have anything to say? Stop drinking that coffee. Come on, Mr. Thief. Don't let this guy beat you. Tell him why he's wrong. You're the only one who calls me thief, Mr. Godot. All right, I'll try. I'll do it. I will. It's really got Mr. Delight all worked up. I like how Godot is doing next to nothing during this. Like, he's calling out, he's basically demanding, like, well, prove it more, you know? Which is not surprising, again, given the whole reasonable doubt being a lot less valuable in this system. It's just ridiculous. Why would I have dropped my wallet at KB Security? Someone must have planted it there to make it look like I was there and not at the heist. Planted it there? It's really reaching now. Mr. Delight, you probably dropped your wallet when you took it out to use this, didn't you? Just gonna save since it's, they may not need us to say anything, but the card is supposed to record anytime it's used. The keycard to KB Security's CEO's office. No. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good try, Mr. Trite. Unfortunately, you've overlooked one small thing. What? Motive, of course. Why would this thief go to KB Security in the middle of the night anyway? Well, Mr. Wright, looks like you need some more evidence after all. Oh. Yeah. Come there at 1 a.m. on October 12th when it happened. Let's see your evidence. The evidence that shows why Mr. Delight was at KB Security. The blackmail note. Mr. Delight, I believe you've seen this before, correct? That's... what is it? A blackmail letter. That's what it looks like from the contents. Blackmail? Yes, basically it says bring $50,000. That certainly sounds like blackmail, all right. At the time of the theft, Mr. Delight was dealing with the blackmailer himself. In KB Security's CEO's office, a full half an hour away from the scene of the crime. Conjure coffee in pain. Oh. Wow. Just slammed that whole mug at once. Gavel. So when the theft of the urn occurred, the defendant was at KB Security. Looks like a perfect case for the defense. You may see it as a perfect case, Judge, but to me... well, let's just say that my Godot blend number 107 impresses me a lot more. What are you trying to say? You say the thief was being blackmailed by the CEO of a security company, but did you actually investigate the CEO at all? Huh? Well, no. I guess not. Accusing a man of blackmail with no proof? Not sure what I think of that. Not sure what I think of that. At least I know what I think of you. Good point. I'm not sure what I think of it myself. You claim that the defendant entered the CEO's office, but you'll need at least one witness to corroborate your claim, Mr. Wright. We may not need to track him down. No, we don't have to track down the CEO at all. What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Someone else who can testify. If it's a person, I could use Larry. Who is this useless-looking young man? Larry tends to show up as kind of the bumbling, interfering individual, if not the defendant in some trials. He is a childhood friend of Phoenix, as is one of the major prosecutors. You don't remember him, Your Honor? Not exactly. He was the defendant in one of the intro trials. And, not tutorials, but early trials. And he was a important source of evidence. I don't think he was a witness, but he was an important participant. I think, maybe he was a witness in one of the murder mysteries, the one that implicated Edgeworth, the prosecutor I was just mentioning. And he shows up occasionally otherwise. But just looking at the picture makes the bile start to rise in my throat. Wow. It's like he doesn't remember the case from 2 years ago. He probably blocked out that memory on purpose. Anyway, this man was working as a guard at KB Security that night. Oh? The question at hand is this key card. Yep, that's the key card they use in the building I work at. According to the serial number, this one is for the CEO's office. You need it to get into the room, and every time you use that card, it leaves a record. Yeah, it tells you exactly who entered the room and when. As you can see, there's no need to investigate the CEO of KB Security. We should be able to discover the truth simply by analyzing this keycard's data.
Conjure, coffee.
Oh, he didn't like that blend.
I like the delayed action spit take, actually.
Well, Mr. Godot, the name of the CEO of KB Security is Kane Bullard. I was unable to contact him directly, but I got the keycard data. Here. So what does it show? Each keycard has its own serial number, and they leave detailed records of their use. According to this data, this card was used at 1 a.m. on the morning of the crime. But that means it can't be Mr. Delight dressed as Mask to Mask in this photo. Ha! Looks like you're right. 2 minutes isn't even enough time to brew a good cup of joe. Cup of joe.
I think it's in one of the SCP stories where it was something like there's a food dispenser or something like that where you can give it some money and ask for something, and it will give you something that approximates that, but exactly how it interprets it is different. And one of the things that somebody asked for is a cup of joe. And it ends up that some guy named Joe has some sort of like critical internal damage inflicted on him. And the coffee mug is just like full of meat. So then, conjure coffee. Ideally not meaty. Ron Delight was clearly in the office of KB Security CEO at the time of the crime. The prosecutor's office is ready to admit that fact. Therefore, it's impossible for the defendant to be Mask to Mask. Good job! You did it, Nick. Gavel! Yeah, some of the things that it did task were just like, you know, it's like it was a ham sandwich, and it might have been made of something odd, like odd ham or something like that. But some of the things were, if it wasn't clear, if it wasn't precise, you were going to get into strange territory fast. That's enough. I came perilously close to besmirching the record of an innocent young man. Again. Besmirching him with the title of thief. What's wrong, Your Honor? I'm ready to pass judgment. But before I do that, do you have any further objections? No, Your Honor. Huh. Very well. The court finds the defendant, Mr. Ron Delight, not guilty. Confetti! Gavel. Court is now adjourned. This can't be the end of it. There were too many little oddities in that case for it to finish fully like this. The pink paint, the fact that the vase, the urn was reassembled, the real identity of Mask to Mask, the strange like amount of money that Desiree and Ron have, despite the fact that Ron has told Desiree that he works as a security guard, and she is under the impression that makes, or she declares that she's under the impression that earns Ron a great deal of money. Too many oddities.
I wonder if Luke Atme as Mask Damask was not actually Mask Damask in some of the early instances, and it wasn't until the second to last time where he found the painting that he became Mask Damask. But maybe prior to that, Ron was Mask Damask. You did it. You were right after all. And Ron is upset that essentially somebody is stealing his identity by doing that. Because, yeah, it's the urn is also not valuable. I wonder if this is supposed to be the first time that it happened. No, that wouldn't get us into the territory of reinvestigating this. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I'm a little bit ashamed of myself. Nicky boy. Oh, Miss Delight. I knew you could do it. I believed in you all along, Nicky boy. I don't know how I can ever repay you. She even has little motorcycle tire earrings. Aw, shucks. Thanks, Miss Delight. Just know I'm blushing. Congratulations, Mr. Nick. Oh, pearls. Got a bad feeling about this. Who is this woman? Pearl is fixated on the idea of Phoenix and Maya being a couple. Oh, she's nobody. She's just, you're blushing. How dare you do this in front of Mystic Maya? Mystic Maya being Maya's title. You should be ashamed of yourself. Physical violence. Ouch, she slapped me. Pearly, this woman is Miss Desiree Delight. She's our client's wife. Mr. Nick. Yes? You're even worse than I thought. Going behind the back of your own client. No, you've got it all wrong. Double slap. Never forgive you. Oh, double slap. Well, anyway, all's well that ends well, right? Got the sacred urn back, and the thief has been caught. You're so right, and it's all thanks to Nicky Boy here. But actually, it was you, Miss Delight, that brought us our urn back. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Oh, please, you're embarrassing me. We won the case. Then why does this guy still look so glum? But I am the thief. Actually, what's the point now? What is it, honey? I did my best for you, Ronnie. I know that, and I appreciate it, Nessie. But the thing is... Come on, give the kid some time. He's just got a little touch of the blues. You know about feeling blue, right, amigo? So, the white hair throws it off. But could this be, Officer Marshall? He's got a bit of twang with his voice, but it's too deep to be Marshall. I feel like he's got to be someone we've encountered before. Mr. Godot, what are you doing here? Oh, come on, I just came here to say thanks to my newest buddy. You, Mr. Trite. Oh man, that's a sneering grin there. Maybe you should learn my name before you call me buddy. Not your buddy, friend. Not your friend, pal. Well, playtime is over. Huh? Early this morning, the body of Kane Bullard was discovered. Kane Bullard? Where have I heard that name before? Ooh, the CO is dead. Isn't that the name of the CEO of KB Security? Wait, body? The estimated time of death was 1 a.m. on October 12th. Ooh, and we just proved, or we have effectively proved that that's where Ron was on the time of on the night of the heist. Are we going to have to prove that he was actually the thief now? That'd be awesome. 1 a.m. on October 12th? You don't mean... That's right, amigo. The amigo and the slight southern twang. Not like Eastern Southern, you know, more like Texan Southern. That's why I think, why I'm thinking of Marshall. At the same time that a cheap little urn was being stolen, the CEO of KB Security was being murdered. So then, what are you doing here? Oh, come on, you figured it out already, haven't you, amigo? Or have you already forgotten about that piece of info I helped you out with today? Helped me out? What? On October 12th at 1 o'clock in the morning, Ron DeLight was in the CEO's office, the scene of the murder. After getting that blackmail letter, he must have been imbrued. Is this a coffee joke? But I don't think the U. Isn't it imbued with no R? That's a typo. It's gotta be a typo. With utter rage. What are you saying? Imbrued. It's not a typo. They did it twice. Is this a coffee joke? Come on, don't tell me you didn't know. Ron DeLight was once an employee of KB Security. He was a professional security guard. Okay, was? An employee of KB Security? I mean, he had the key card. Looks like the alibi that saved him from being convicted of a thief is going to be the noose that gets him hanged. Kind of an anti-alibi. No way. He can't be the thief because he was at the murder scene when the murder occurred. Really gotta fix this left eye, you know? Oh, that's a lie. It can't be true. But I am a thief, I tell you. Ron DeLight, you're going back to prison again. This time the charge is much more serious. This time you'll be tried for murder. What? This can't be. This is impossible. Looking forward to another exciting showdown, Mr. Trite. You and I aren't through with each other yet. Surely you won't back down from a challenge. You've never been a coward. Yeah, it's that there's the definite impression or the implication that Godot knows Phoenix and has a grudge too. I mean, I think Edgeworth, if the hair was more gray. Return from the depths of hell to do battle with you. It could be an ex-prosecutor, but we've only had Edgeworth, Francisca. Doesn't have the right, like, the rest of his face doesn't line up for Damon Gand. No, it's going to be interesting to find out. At least let me have some fun while I'm here. This guy, who the heck is he? The earrings, too. The most dangerous enemy I've ever faced. Well then, time to say goodbye to Mr. DeLight. Back into holding you go. Nick, how could this be happening? Right in front of our very eyes, our client has been arrested for murder. And the one who established his presence at the scene was me. Ronnie! Arrested for murder on the very same day he's declared innocent of larceny. What the heck's going to happen next? I mean, at this rate, if we get him acquitted again, what's he going to be arrested for next? The escalation from larceny to murder was very sharp, so it'd have to be, pretty severe. His alibi for murder put him precisely in the right position to commit bioterrorism. We've cracked the case. We found the man that caused COVID. Glad we found the urn and all, but poor Mr. Delight got arrested again. Well, supposedly, Mr. Delight was in the CEO's office when the murder occurred. No way, I don't buy it. But the one who proved that Mr. Delight was there was Mr. Nick himself, at least from what I can understand. It's like you did too good a job this time, Nick. Well, how about we get started looking into KB security? I think I'm going to head back to Crane Village for a little while, if that's all right. Sure, but why? I'm going to bring the sacred urn back and have some people take a look at it. Oh, that's a good idea. I think I'll go with. No, Mystic Maya, you should stay here. I want you two to spend some special quality time together, full of love and happiness. Rose is so caught up in her fantasy, she forgets there's a murder to solve. Sacred urn given to Pearls. Now remember, no fighting, okay? He's gone. Okay, Nick, time to get going on this murder investigation. See if Desiree's in. Oh, Nicky boy, Maya. Miss Delight. All I wanted to do was help my dear Ronnie. Yeah, but I guess it ended up hurting his case. Don't say that, Nick. She doesn't need your help beating herself up. Hey, Nicky boy, please help Ronnie. He's not a killer, I swear. My Ronnie wouldn't hurt a fly. Alright, I'll poke around and see what I can find out. Are you serious? I'm so happy. I knew asking for your help was the right thing to do. I don't know what I can do to help anymore. I had no idea Miss Delight had such a vulnerable side. Listen carefully, Nicky boy. My Ronnie would never, ever kill anyone. It's just not in it. That was part of our core assumption as far as him not being a thief was. It actively doesn't seem like he would be capable of it. I don't think he would either, Nick. Yeah, but you have to admit you do have to admit he's got a bit of a temper to him. It's not that hard to imagine him just snapping and screaming, "Please die." He would never say that. Anyway, Miss Delight, he might not be a killer, but he's still going around saying that he's a thief. I already told you, that's just a fantasy for him. Miss Delight, I hate to say it, but you're the one living in a fantasy world. What? How dare you say that to me, Nicky boy? I know everything about my Ron. We don't have any secrets between us. Ronnie isn't the thieving type. He's so honest that he wouldn't even sneak a nap. He's so honest that he wouldn't even steal a glance. A thief. Ha! The very idea. Guess I just don't get it. Get what? I just can't understand how they can be so different and yet be such a happy couple. They sure are different. Ah, now, Nicky boy, it's not that mysterious, is it? It was love at first sight. For me, anyway. What? For you? So was it really love at first sight when you first met Mr. Delight? A little bit of a rhyme there. Well, maybe not at first sight, but Ronnie saved my life. Saved your life. I was at work one day when 2 robbers suddenly rushed in. I'm not the kind to just curl up into a little ball in a corner, so I fought back. Robbers? Yes, they took me hostage. I was so frightened. They were both carrying these huge knives, and I broke down into tears. Yeah, I would too if I were in that situation. Oh, I think I get it. Did Mr. Delight come running to save you? Yes, exactly. I remember he looked so handsome in that guard uniform of his. Well, the 2 people on the left, they all seem kind of horrified. Like, all 3 of them. Guy on the left having a ski mask on, the guy on the right having a nylon over his head. This guy passing through. Please stop it, he screamed. I could see the robbers' faces turn pale. That high-pitched shriek of his does have a surprisingly strong effect on people. Then, crying and swinging his arms like crazy, he attacked the 2 robbers. Reminds me of Officer Meekins in his description of how he attacked the intruder in the evidence room. Sort of like wild flailing, you know? All by himself, he came to save me. A total stranger, all by himself. He was so scared that he was crying and shaking, but he still risked his life for me. That's a great story. You may not look it, but in a tough situation, there's no one better. That's why I fell in love with him like I did. It's so romantic, I'd fall in love too, I guess. I hope you'll do the same for me if I ever get taken hostage. You have been taken hostage. With Maya, that possibility always seems to loom in the not-so-distant future. I hate these kind of people more than anything. You mean ace detectives? No, I'm fine with ace detectives. Oh, so then you must mean thieves. No, they're all right, too. I just hate thieves that pretend to be ace detectives. There's nothing I hate more than cowardly men. By the way, why did you go to Detective Atmey's office anyway? Well, as the trial went on, I started to get more anxious. I went there to try and find out more about the real criminal. The real criminal? Yes, obviously the real Mask to Mask is not my Ronnie, right? Yeah. And Detective Atmey knew more about Mask to Mask than anyone else. They mentioned him on the Great People Around the World segment on TV. So then you went there to ask him some questions. That's right, I'll do whatever it takes to save my man. His secretary said, the ace detective isn't in right now, but I forced my way past her and into his hideout. What's breaking and entering if not for in the name of love? I wouldn't exactly call that office of his a hideout. That bag was sitting right there on the top of the table. Oh yeah, we saw that bag there yesterday, too. Nothing lower than someone who would try to pin a crime on someone else. Mr. Light, do you know about KB Security? Don't be silly. Of course I do. That's where my Ronnie works. There's the implication that he used to work there. So she thinks he still works there, huh? Yet, according to what we heard today, was once an employee of KB Security. Was a professional security guard. Ron quit. He doesn't work there anymore. Looks like Mr. Light doesn't know. KB Security is only about 20 minutes away, by motorcycle, that is. Larry told me it takes 30 minutes by car. Well, I have to admit I tend to fly pretty fast on my bike. She bragged about effectively outrunning a police attempting to pull her over when we first met her. Make it to KB Security that fast. Are you sure you aren't literally flying? Why don't I give you a ride sometime? Or better yet, how about now? No. I'll pass, thanks. Why don't you just tell us where it is we'll go ourselves, and we'll go ourselves. What a scaredy cat you are, Nick. Miss Delight told us the location of KB Security. Let's head over there right away, Nick. It is comical seeing Sky being the one that's getting the forced grooming. He's often the instigator of that. I think Ember has had enough of him lately, though. Oh, look at all this fancy stuff. Man. High-tech looking. His body was hanging out of the safe? Interesting. Guess this is where it all went down, huh? The walls in here look thick, like you'd expect in a CEO's office. It's got one of those archive shelf things where they're all on sliders so that you can fit more shelves in at a time. And by sliding them, you open up a path to get between a pair of them. What has that got to do with anything? Hey, it's you guys. It's Detective Gumshoe. Hi, Detective Gumshoe. Today was a real train wreck for you guys, huh? Sure was, pal. That prosecutor made real fools out of us. I feel for you. Oh, that's not like you at all. I thought you'd be more like, oh, that was great. You guys got what you deserved, pal. Laugh. Or something to that effect. Do I really sound like that to you, pal? If the gumshoe fits. Well, anyway. The point is that I can tell when someone puts their hearts into their job. And I can sympathize when things don't go your way. Sometimes I feel like wrong is the only way things go for us detectives. Wow, I had no idea Detective Gumshoe was such a nice guy. Now, if this little love fest is over, maybe we can start investigating. Detective Gumshoe, tell us what you know about the murder. Okay, but the thing is, I'm really not supposed to. Do it anyway. It's not stopped you before. Come on, what about how we put our hearts into our work? Things are really working against us right now, and we need help. Okay, I'll tell you, just don't start crying on me, okay, pal? Okay, I won't cry on you, pal. He's got sideburns. Victim's name was is Kane Bullard. He's the CEO of KB Security and a pretty big fellow in his own right. His corpse was discovered at 9 this morning. His estimated time of death is 1 on the morning of October 12th. Cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head, probably an object in this room. Happened at exactly the same time that Mask to Mask was stealing the urn, huh? Cerebral hemorrhaging. Why did it take almost an entire day to discover the body? There's a good explanation for that one. Bullard's body was stashed away inside that safe. Okay, yeah, he was in the safe. So when they opened it, when somebody opened it, the body fell out. Safe? Well, it's pretty big. Nobody had heard from him, and when they opened the safe this morning, out he came. Oh, so the body fell out. That white string must be the shape from when he fell out. I think we still need some more information about Mr. Billiard. Maybe you could start by getting the man's name right. So, what happened to Mask to Mask? He's at the detention center, screaming like a madman. Investigate me again, he keeps yelling. Oh, no, I didn't mean him. He's not the real thief anyway, right? Oh, you mean that detective at me? That was great. That guy got what he deserved. That's what Maya was joking that he would say to them. Now that's the detective I know and love. Think about it. Atme was always around when a calling card showed up. He always mysteriously disappeared when the heist took place. Was hiding at the crime scene. Yeah, right. The lamest thing I've ever heard. That's how you just knew he was the thief. That would explain how he was able to retrieve the stolen item he kept bragging about. He just did that to make himself look like a great detective, that's all. There is one thing I can't figure out about his first heist. His first heist? Yeah, the Tear of Emanon case. There was a witness on that one. A witness? Here, I saved the newspaper clipping. Since the thief is already under arrest, you guys can keep it. Hey, this guard here. Haven't I seen him somewhere before? It's pretty small, so it's kind of hard to see, but now that she mentions it... That's supposed to be like the detention center security guard? That prosecutor, I really don't like that guy. The way he used our own evidence to do that to Mr. Delight. Yeah, I think he did it that way because he knew it'd hurt more. That's what my gut tells me, anyway. So who is that Java-addicted mask maniac, anyway? Prosecutor Godot? He's quite the enigma, huh? Thing is, pal, I've never heard of the guy before. He just showed up one day at the prosecutor's office. Came out of nowhere. That's right, he said this was his first case as a prosecutor. But Edgeworth recommended him as the best prosecutor in the country. So there's got to be something going on here. It's true, according to the records anyway, but no way he's an amateur. He's an Iceman in court. Maverick that gives me goosebumps. Goosebumps? You? Yeah, I knew something was off about him, so I asked around. Nobody would talk to me. They all just turned the other way. Poor Detective Gumshoe. I had no idea you were so unpopular. No, that's not what I meant. That Godot guy acts like he knows me and has a grudge against me. Get the feeling he's hiding some kind of dark secret. Oh, third cat incoming. Sherbet passing through for a toastin'. We gotta keep it on the double cat. Must be the CEO's desk. It's a lot simpler than I would have thought. Hey, that looks like a super soft chair. Let me try it out just for a second. Ooh, nice. Feels just like a CEO. Hey you, whip me up a cup of some really expensive import tea. And some scones. Move it. Ah, this is the life. The victim sat in that chair just before he was brutally killed, you know. There's a button. There's a button here. Let's see. Hey, cut it out. Don't press that. That was pretty funny. I never knew Detective Gumshoe could jump like that. What is that button anyway? It's an emergency buzzer. It says right there on the panel. Oh, you're right. It's written right there. Nick, how many times have I told you to read the instructions first? This alarm's connected to the basement guard room. It's used to summon security up here. Really? And it's possible on the night of the crime. Oh, so when the CEO was attacked, do you think that maybe he pressed the buzzer? Yeah, I thought about that, so I asked around down there. But they said that the buzzer never went off that night. Also, we couldn't find any fingerprints on the buzzer. Mr. Bullard, the victim, wasn't wearing any gloves, by the way, just so you know. I think we better go and talk to that guard about this emergency buzzer. These look like some kind of bookshelf rolling cabinet hybrid. Can't get in between these two shelves. Don't strain yourself trying. Looks like the shelves are controlled by a special panel. So I guess it's one shelf at a time, huh? Looks like they're filled with a bunch of files. Files filled with data about security jobs. Be a good night's reading if you've got insomnia. I was hoping for something a little bit more exciting, like UFOs or something. Check out this big, thick binder here. Leave the heavy lifting to me, Nick. Reading a file isn't exactly back-breaking work, just a little hard on the eyes. Ah. What did you find out, Nick? This file, it's not about any sort of security operations or anything. This huge file is all about Mask to Mask. It's filled with info on it. What? What kind of info? Filled with incredibly detailed information about his methods and crime scenes. Hey, Nick. Look at the last page. It's a list. Let's see. Tier of Eminon. 100,000. Looks like a list of all the treasures that Mask to Mask stole. So then 100,000 is the value of the stolen item. I don't know, that number sounds kind of low to me. Oh. This is the location that was receiving the stolen goods, possibly. So maybe there was a falling out over the operation? Yeah. It's a progressively escalating amount of money. This rope. You think it fell out of the safe when it was opened? I don't think so. So you mean... Yeah, I think this string shows where and how the corpse was lying. You mean, The victim. He was killed by being crushed by the safe door? She can't be serious, can she? Think about it. A dead guy was laying in here all night. Yeah, oh, by the way, don't bother asking about fingerprints. There were none. Somebody opened the safe on the night of the crime, right? Yeah, and so? Well, if Mr. Bullard's body was hidden in there, it must mean that it was opened by either the killer or the victim, right? Yeah, I guess so. That's some bad news for you, pal. Are you ready? Okay, shoot. Opening this baby is no piece of cake. There are only a few people who know how to open this safe, pal. Yeah, and? Everyone that knows how to open the safe had airtight alibis. I checked. Everyone except one, that is. Almost afraid to ask. Former security chief Ron DeLight. What? Ron DeLight? He was a security chief? So he knew how to open the safe, huh? Yeah, sorry for raining on your parade there, pal. Look at that huge framed photo. Tall mountains rising majestically against a dark and cloudy sky. Title written on the bottom. The greatest sunrise of my life. This is it? This was his best sunrise? Either this guy didn't get out enough or he had really rotten luck with the weather. Maybe if he had lived a little longer, he would have seen some better days. Right? This is Larry's room, isn't it? That orange coat looks a lot like the one that Larry usually wears. Wow. This is really something else. For a security guard's office, this sure doesn't feel very secure. Baby security guard. Uh-oh, I just remembered. Larry might be... Hey, Nick, what's up? It's Larry Butts. He is here. How's it hanging, dude? Got my sweet little Maya with you, too. Hi, Larry. Here I was working my fingers to the bone, and in walks an angel. I've got no problems with a daytime date. It's all good. That's not what we're here for. We're investigating the Bullard murder case. Huh? Oh yeah, that's right. You're a lawyer, aren't you? He's so hopelessly clueless. Well, if it's about the murder case, boy, have I got some good info for you. Really? What is it? Well, I don't mind sharing with my sweet little Maya, but Nick here is a different story. But Larry, I thought you two were old school buddies. That was then, and this is now. Alright, folks. We are going to wrap up on time tonight, actually. But been a good run. But there are some things that I do need to wrap up today, and I'm a little tired, so we'll see if we can wrangle all of that. But good times, good times. We got through case 2 of game 3. Making progress. Did you folks have fun? In any event, let's see. We will be returning on Thursday with some Judgment. That is a more action-y detective game. And then Friday and Saturday are going to be more Trigger Happy Havoc, the first Danganronpa game.
So, I hope everyone has a good rest of their evening, and I will see you again on Thursday, hopefully. Have a good night, folks.